gotta sync a controller. So I don't have anything plugged in on the ports on the front. On the Pro, there's a port on the back, but we're gonna show you on this Slim. So all I'm doing right now is just plugging this controller in, and I'm gonna turn it on.
Got her on the right channel. There we go.
She just takes a second.
She's a little old. This video will be a little bit longer because we are doing the wait times, the whole 9 yards. If you have any questions, you can always catch me on Whatnot, message me, so on and so forth.
So now you're like this with it plugged in. I'm just gonna hit the home button, hit X. Maybe. There we go. All right, so now my controller is synced up. Your PS4 is gonna look something like this with some games and stuff like that. We'll go through all that here in a second. But now your controller's synced up. I'm gonna hold down this home button. I'm gonna go down to power. I'm gonna go down to turn off the PS4. This is how you need to turn off the PS4 every time. And you just do that and let it shut off completely, and then we're going to hook up the Ethernet thing. So there'll be a little standby. You get some like white blinky lights and stuff on the button. When it stops blinking, then you can hook up your Ethernet thing, which will activate Gold 10 for you and your hard drive. So my blinky lights are gone. So I'm gonna unhook my PS4 controller now. You don't really need this cable anymore unless you just want to charge your controller later, but that's fine. Now, on the back side, there's 2 different adapters you can use. So this adapter with the stick, it also has a little button on the side right there. Sometimes if you have power failures or something, it starts up and shuts off. Sometimes you might have to click that little button just once. You'll hear it click, and then you just plug it back into the Ethernet port. And you'll have it'll be USB-C on one side. You're gonna run this USB. I'm gonna plug it in the front. You have to do this every time you turn it on. I usually would just leave it plugged in, so that way you don't have to do this every time. But you just leave this plugged in here and here. And then you take your external hard drive and you plug it into the other USB port on the front. And like I said, on Pros, this USB can be plugged in the back, so you'll have a free spot in the front. But on Slim and original models, this is the way I have to set it up. So this is pretty much how it's gonna stay set up. As long as you don't touch it and sit on yourself, this is how it's gonna be. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it back on now. And while this is powering up, this is the other adapter I was talking about. This is probably more than likely the one you will have. But with this adapter, it just plugs into Ethernet, and the same thing, there's USB-C to USB. But on this, we mod ours an 11.0 version, so you just have to make sure the switch is over here. I put it over here because I used this to jailbreak it originally, so it should be there. And then you have A and B. That's the same thing as it was with the power. I use B, but if you're having issues where it keeps turning off, you can try A, but A or B is what you would use, but I would recommend B and 11. But you may have this one, but for now we're using that other one, but this is another type of adapter. All right, so I'm just gonna go back in here again, home button, X. Some things might pop up because I unhooked the hard drive. So since I have the hard drive plugged in, you're gonna have this, and you're gonna have, that means the hard drive's syncing. So if you go to like these games, you're gonna have icons right here. You'll have icons under all your games. What's this icon or a lock symbol means the hard drive has not been read yet. You have to be patient and let it read. It's 5 terabytes. But if you go, this is where your games will be that you've played recently. So I've recently played some of these. Now, as you can see up here, it just says Pwn. Gold Hen is activated. It's going to say one more for loading the thing. You will see this every single time. You have to make sure this happens. Now, up here, I have Gold Hen activated. There's no PlayStation Network logo anymore. So in here is where all the stuff is. You don't really have to mess with any of this. I already set it up for you. So now that Gold Hen is activated, you have to wait until this stops blinking. This is your external hard drive that I plugged into the front. But as you can see, I still have a little exclamation mark right there. None of these games will work yet. It has to finish loading completely. But if you want to get to all your games, go all the way over, click library, and then in here you're going to have all your games. You can either search, it's going to be a mix. It's just everything in between. PS2, PS1, ps4, it's all in there. But as you can see, like I was saying, these, you may have a lock icon. There's all kinds of different, there's 2 icons you can have. I have put it in the direction sheet. But you're just gonna have to wait for that hard drive to load. But I'm just for now showing you the games. You can make folders. I made a folder with some apps in here just because. But while it's still loading, I'll show you on how to make folders. You can just go to your library. You can go over to whatever game you want and you hit option and you can add a folder. And say I want to make all PS2 games. Oops. So I call it, say, PS2. I'm going to select some content. And I'm going to go find all my PS2 games I want to put in there. So there's one. Here's one. Here's one. You know, you get the picture. So you can add your PS2 games. When you're done, you can hit confirm. And then you hit OK. Now, when you go back out, your folders are going to be right here. So that's my PS2 folder. You can do whatever folders you want, but the latest game you play will be right here. So this is the latest activity item. I'll just take your turn. So the hard drive is still loading. The first time you plug this hard drive in, like out of the box, you're going to have to wait for all this to go and completely sync back up. Once you turn it off and you turn it back on after it's already hooked up, you won't have to wait for all of this.
It will take a second, guys. It's 5 terabytes. That is a lot of storage.
Yep, it is 678 games. And I mean, it's from PS1 all the way to PS4. So it's got to process all of this. This is how I'd recommend if you want to go find a game and play. I mean, you can also just search it too if you want. But once you play the game, it'll be saved right there on your main bar up here. So as you can see, like, it's starting to pick up some games. So now you see how my icons are slowly going away on the bottom down here. So I don't have a little exclamation mark. I don't have a lock mark. So it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's just, it has to go through all 600 games.
Don't start a game while it's still loading a hard drive. You will overwork it. It might freeze. Just be patient.
Yeah, the very first time, you're just going to have to wait for it to all load. It's working. You're just going to have to be patient the very first time. So as you can see, it's still doing its thing up there. Gold Hen is activated, so I don't have to worry about that. So
that is basically start to finish on unboxing your PS4, hooking it up to the TV. Now the only thing to do is wait. And it's probably right around a 10-minute wait. We're at 9 minutes in this video and we're almost done. It looks like PS1 and PS2 is what it's working on now.
Yep.
Honestly, the best bet is just put the controller down, go make yourself a snack, get you a drink, come back.
Yep. But once it sees it, like I said, you won't have to resync it up. Now, I'll try to kind of show you while it's still going some issues you might have. Say your golden hen didn't pop up. First thing I would say is try and do is go to settings, and there will be a little direction sheet. It's a little blue sheet in your box. But you would just go to network, set up internet connection, and then you do LAN cable, custom. This is the important thing. And then PPOE, and then you can just put in your, you don't have to put anything, you have to put something, but I just do something random. You hit next, and then, I mean, you just hit next a bunch of times, don't use, and then you can test connection. It will always fail, but that's okay, because technically you're not connected to online. So you can do it this way. Some stuff will pop up. It'll probably say success and fail for internet connection, but it'll successfully connect to the IP. Or it'll go like that because my gold hen already is activated. You may have that, that's fine. This doesn't really all matter as long as you did the other steps right. Just go back. And then if gold hen still isn't activated for some reason, then what you need to do is turn the PS4 off with how I was saying, how you hold down the button, do power here, and hit the power off on the PS4. But this gold hen has to be activated in order to play a game. And so right now we're still kind of just waiting for this hard drive to fully sync up.
It's like PS1,
But
some PS2's already gone up. PS1.
Yeah, so now it's going through PS1. Looks like PS2's done and PS4 is done. So we're just gonna wait for it to finish up there. But if you want, you can make some PS2 and PS1 and PS4 folders, put some apps in there, whatever you want to do. I just made those really quick just because it looked nice. There's a few themes I threw in there for you, but that's all in settings. All right, so as you can see, the hard drive's done blinking, so now I just have the time up there, okay? So, and then after it's done syncing, my icons are gone away, as you can see. And then you can just click into a game. Let's click into this game. And there you are. And it'll be just the game just like that. Now, to go back to the home menu, you're going to hit your home button on your controller like normal. Now this is very important though. You have to close the game before you go to another game, or else your next game won't work. You'll just have an error. So you hit this option button on your controller right here, click that. And then after you hit options, you gotta close the application. So just go down here, hit OK. You have to do that after every game you play. But that's pretty much all of setting it up out of the box, what you need to do. If there is a problem where your hard drive, it says it needs to be repaired, so your hard drive gets unplugged, okay? It's like, oh no, it's gone. When you go to plug it in, or if you have any of those kind of issues, or if your hard drive isn't reading, if you're not getting anything up there, but you have like these symbols down here or whatever, what you have to do is wait for it to pop up. It's going to give you this error saying, oh no, you got to repair it, whatever. Hit OK. Now what this does, it doesn't erase it. All it does is resync it back to your PS4. So you got to get over, you have to select OK. And then what it's going to do is it's going to repair it. Sometimes you may have the issue where the first time you turn it on, The hard drive isn't syncing up there in the top. That's okay. Just unplug it, plug it back in, do this repair process. Don't remember how long this takes.
It usually takes me about 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay.
Anything else we're going to show?
I think that's the main gist of it.
Okay.
Just making sure you activate Golden Hen to play the game. If Golden Hen's not activating, try and reset up the internet connection. If that still doesn't work, power it off and turn it back on, and then try it that way. Usually, sometimes it takes 2 or 3 goes. Sometimes it'll go the first try. There's nothing we can do to control that. It's a chip inside of the Ethernet adapter. You always have to have power. Make sure your USB ports are plugged in and plugged in the right spots. And then that would be the only other thing with the hard drive. Make sure it's blinking in the top. Make sure you don't have any icons. If you have any icons, you can't play it yet. It has to finish.
All right, that's 16 minutes start to finish, loading and everything. It's about as fast as you're going to get on a 5 terabyte modded PS4. If you guys have any questions, hit me up on Whatnot, Messenger. I'm everywhere. You know where to find me. See ya.